What happens when loyalty turns into betrayal? In a stunning revelation, Charity Banda, known to be a close ally of Esther Lungu, has been accused of secretly working with the ruling UPND. As PF crumbles under internal pressure and suspicion, the lines between friend and foe have never been more blurred. Is this the final blow to the Patriotic Front, or just the beginning of a political earthquake? Zambia's political stage is once again ablaze, but this time, it's not the usual UPND versus PF battle. Instead, chaos is erupting inside the Patriotic Front. Why? Because a trusted ally of Esther Lungu, Charity Banda, has been caught red-handed, allegedly working behind the scenes with the ruling UPND. Was it betrayal, a desperate political pivot, or is something deeper brewing? In this expose, we uncover what's really happening within the PF, and why this one woman's actions could tear the opposition apart from the inside. The Patriotic Front, PF, founded in 2001 by Michael Sata, has been a cornerstone of Zambian politics, particularly after its rise to power in 2011. However, since losing the 2021 general election to Hakainde Hichilema's United Party for National Development (UPND), the PF has faced existential crises marked by internal factionalism, leadership struggles, and external pressures. The death of former President Edgar Lungu on June 5, 2025, in a South African hospital intensified these challenges, thrusting the party into a new phase of turmoil. Lungu, who led Zambia from 2015 to 2021, was the PF's unifying figure, and his passing has left a leadership vacuum that has exacerbated existing divisions. The Constitutional Court's December 2024 ruling barring Lungu from running for president again, citing his two prior terms, had already weakened the party's prospects for the 2026 elections. BBC InspirAfrica.org. The current crisis revolves around disputes over Lungu's funeral arrangements, which have pitted the PF, the Lungu family, and the UPND government against each other, creating a public spectacle that has deepened national divisions. Allegations involving Charity Banda, a prominent PF member, have further complicated the situation, with a leaked audio suggesting a conspiracy involving senior figures, including President Hichilema. This crisis is not isolated, but part of a pattern of PF instability, including the 2023 factional split led by Miles Sampa, who briefly declared himself party president before reconciling with Lungu's faction in May 2025. The PF's inability to resolve internal conflicts, coupled with external pressures like the UPND's anti-corruption campaign targeting PF affiliates, has left the party fragmented and struggling to maintain its relevance. Wikipedia.org. BBC, UKBBC.com. Who is Charity Banda? Charity Banda isn't just any PF member. She's known for her long-standing loyalty to former First Lady Esther Lungu and the Lungu family. For years, she stood by Esther during public appearances, PF women's events, and campaign trail moments. Insiders describe her as unshakable, loyal, and trusted, someone often consulted on party strategy. Charity Banda is a veteran PF member, known for her role as the chairlady of the party's Lusaka Provincial Committee until its dissolution. Her long tenure with the PF dates back to its early days as an opposition party under Michael Sata, giving her deep roots within its grassroots structure. Banda has been outspoken on party matters, often positioning herself as a defender of the PF's original values of social democracy and support for the urban poor and youth. In 2023, she publicly criticized the PF leadership for delaying a party convention, accusing Edgar Lungu of orchestrating internal chaos to maintain control. She contrasted her loyalty with newer members like Miles Sampa, whom she accused of opportunism, highlighting her historical ties to the party's founding ethos. Wikipedia.org. Banda's prominence grew after a leaked audio, reported on July 23, 2025, by the Zambian Observer, implicated her in discussions about Lungu's funeral arrangements. The audio allegedly involved PF member Robert Shabinga and Community Development Minister Doreen Wamba, suggesting a plot to secure Lungu's remains through bribing a South African judge. Banda's alleged involvement has made her a polarizing figure, with some PF members viewing her as a traitor and others seeing her as a scapegoat in a politically charged controversy. In response, Banda issued a voice note to Daily Revelation, denying the allegations and claiming she faced insurmountable insults from Lungu's supporters. She also reportedly wrote a letter to President Hichilema, urging dialogue with the Lungu family to resolve the funeral dispute, positioning herself as a mediator. This has fueled speculation about her motives, though her history suggests a complex figure navigating a fractured party. ZambianObserver.com. But today, she's making headlines for all the wrong reasons. The allegations. Allegations started when a voice note surfaced on social media, claiming that Charity Banda had met with UPND officials at a private home in Lusaka. She allegedly discussed the possibility of collaborating for a new women's empowerment scheme, funded by a UPND affiliate NGO. Even more controversial, she's accused of leaking internal PF strategies to her UPND contacts. The PF grassroots exploded. Social media turned into a battlefield. Was this proof of betrayal? The allegations against Charity Banda stem from a leaked audio reported by the Zambian Observer on July 23, 2025, which purportedly reportedly reveals a conspiracy involving President Hichilema, PF member Robert Shabinga, and Minister Doreen Mwamba. The audio allegedly discusses bribing a South African judge to secure Lungu's remains for repatriation to Zambia, alongside organizing paid protests to influence public opinion. Banda's name surfaced in this context, leading to accusations that she was complicit or aware of the plot. These claims are explosive, given the sensitivity of Lungu's death and the ongoing feud between the PF and UPND, which includes Hichilema's 2017 detention under Lungu's regime and the UPND's subsequent targeting of PF figures. Zambian Observer, combc.combc.com. Banda has denied involvement, stating in a voice note to Daily Revelation that she faced significant backlash from Lungu's supporters. Her letter to Hichilema, if authentic, urges dialogue to resolve the funeral dispute, suggesting she was attempting to de-escalate rather than conspire. The audio's authenticity remains unverified, and its emergence aligns with the PF's narrative of UPND orchestrated attacks to discredit the opposition. The allegations have amplified public and political tensions, with PF supporters accusing the government of exploiting Lungu's death for political gain. The involvement of high-profile figures like Shabinga, a PF MP, and Mwamba, a UPND minister, adds complexity, raising questions about intra-party betrayal and cross-party collusion. Without verified evidence, the allegations remain speculative, but have significantly damaged trust within the PF and between the party and the government. ZambianObserver.com. Esther Lungu's involvement. The most shocking part of the story isn't just Charity Banda's alleged UPND links. It's the fact that she's widely seen as speaking on behalf of Esther Lungu. Some speculate that her involvement reflects deeper divisions within the Lungu family itself. Sources inside PF claim Esther has refused to publicly distance herself from Charity Banda. Why? Because according to close aides, this wasn't betrayal, this was survival. Charity Banda's relationship with Esther Lungu, the former First Lady and widow of Edgar Lungu, is primarily political, rooted in their shared PF affiliation. Esther, married to Lungu since 1986, was a visible figure during his presidency, known for her Esther Lungu Foundation and her role in PF campaigns. However, her public image has been tarnished by legal challenges, including arrests in 2023 and 2024 for fraud and possession of properties suspected to be proceeds of crime, which she denies. There is no evidence of a personal bond between Banda and Esther Lungu, and recent events suggest tension, particularly following Lungu's death and the funeral controversy. Wikipedia.org, BBC, UKBBC.com. The leaked audio mentioning Banda has strained any potential alignment with Esther Lungu. Esther, supported by family spokesperson Makibi Zulu, has insisted on a private burial in South Africa per Edgar's wishes and accused the UPND of disrespecting her husband's legacy. Banda's alleged involvement in discussions about repatriating Lungu's body, coupled with her letter to Hichilema, has been interpreted by some PF members as siding with the government against the Lungu family's wishes. In her defense, Banda claimed she was trying to facilitate dialogue, not undermine Esther. Her public statements, including a voice note denying financial motives, suggest she is distancing herself from accusations of disloyalty to the Lungu family. The lack of direct evidence of collaboration with Esther or overt conflict makes their relationship ambiguous, defined more by political maneuvering than personal ties. BBC.combc.com. PF's internal reaction. The PF leadership hasn't taken the news lightly. Several senior officials have called for a disciplinary hearing. Some are even demanding a full expulsion from the party. One anonymous source stated, "The party is no longer united. We don't know who to trust. First it was the Lungu court cases, now this betrayal. PF is crumbling." The divide between old guard loyal to the Lungus and new PF members seeking change is now wider than ever. The allegations against Charity Banda stem from a leaked audio reported by the Zambian Observer on July 23, 2025, which purportedly reveals a conspiracy involving President Hichilema, PF member Robert Shabinga, and Minister Doreen Mwamba. The audio allegedly discusses bribing a South African judge to secure Lungu's remains for repatriation to Zambia, alongside organizing paid protests to influence public opinion. Banda's name surfaced in this context, leading to accusations that she was complicit or aware of the plot. These claims are explosive, given the sensitivity of Lungu's death and the ongoing feud between the PF and UPND, which includes Hichilema's 2017 detention under Lungu's regime and the UPND's subsequent targeting of PF figures. Zambian Observer, combc.combc.com. Banda has denied involvement, stating in a voice note to Daily Revelation that she faced significant backlash from Lungu's supporters. Her letter to Hichilema, if authentic, urges dialogue to resolve the funeral dispute, suggesting she was attempting to de-escalate rather than conspire. The audio's authenticity remains unverified, and its emergence aligns with the PF's narrative of UPND orchestrated attacks to discredit the opposition. The allegations have amplified public and political tensions, with PF supporters accusing the government of exploiting Lungu's death for political gain. The involvement of high-profile figures like Shabinga, a PF MP, and Mwamba, a UPND minister, adds complexity, raising questions about intra-party betrayal and cross-party collusion. Without verified evidence, the allegations remain speculative, but have significantly damaged trust within the PF and between the party and the government. ZambianObserver.com. Is UPND behind this? Could this all be part of a bigger plan? Critics suggest the UPND might be playing a clever game, encouraging PF's internal collapse by luring influential members across the aisle. Some reports claim that several other PF women leaders have been approached in recent months with offers of NGO funding, empowerment positions, or soft government contracts. Whether it's true or not, one thing is clear: Zambia's opposition is under siege. Speculation about Charity Banda's collaboration with the UPND is driven by the leaked audio and her letter to Hichilema, which some PF members interpret as evidence of disloyalty. The audio's mention of Banda alongside UPND figures like Doreen Mwamba fuels suspicions that she may be working with the ruling party to undermine the PF or the Lungu family's control over the funeral arrangements. The PF's broader narrative of UPND persecution, including the arrests of Esther Lungu and other PF affiliates, amplifies these suspicions. Banda's critics within the PF, particularly those loyal to Esther Lungu, view her actions as a betrayal, especially given her call for dialogue with a government the PF accuses of targeting its members. Zambian Observer, ComBC, UKBBC.com. However, Banda's denials and her history with the PF suggest a more nuanced picture. Her 2023 criticisms of Lungu's leadership and her emphasis on party reform indicate frustration with the PF's internal dysfunction, not necessarily an alignment with the UPND. Her letter to Hichilema, urging engagement with the Lungu family, could reflect pragmatism rather than collusion, aiming to resolve a divisive issue. The lack of concrete evidence, such as financial transactions or direct communications with UPND officials, makes the collaboration allegations speculative. The UPND has dismissed the audio as a PF tactic to deflect from its internal chaos, and the government's legal actions against the Lungu family suggest no preferential treatment for Banda. The polarized political climate, where accusations of betrayal are common, likely exaggerates these claims, but they underscore the PF's distrust of its own members. ZambianObserver.com. Charity Banda speaks. In a brief and guarded statement, Charity Banda denied all claims. I remain committed to the PF and the people of Zambia. I have not joined UPND, and I reject the attempts to divide our party. But her critics are not convinced. Some claim the silence from Esther Lungu speaks louder than any denial. The PF's reaction to the Charity Banda allegations and the funeral dispute has been one of indignation and fragmentation. Acting PF President Given Labinda has been vocal, accusing Hichilema of hypocrisy for ending the national mourning period prematurely and pursuing legal action to repatriate Lungu's body. At a memorial event streamed on Facebook, Labinda criticized the government for politicizing Lungu's death, aligning with the Lungu family's demand for a private burial in South Africa. The PF has held multiple press conferences at its secretariat, urging supporters to mourn there rather than at the government-designated lodge, reinforcing its defiance of UPND plans. Zambian Observer, Coma Friday Casa Country, ComBC.com. The leaked audio has deepened internal rifts, with some PF members labeling Banda a traitor and others questioning the motives of figures like Robert Shabinga, also implicated. The party's youth wing and grassroots supporters have taken to social media, demanding investigations into the audio and clarity from Banda. The PF's narrative frames the UPND as exploiting Lungu's death to weaken the opposition, a claim echoed by supporters who see the government's anti-corruption campaign as politically motivated. However, the party's fragmented state, with lingering factions from the 2023 Sampa-Lungu split, has prevented a cohesive response. The PF's reliance on Lungu's charisma rather than institutional strength leaves it vulnerable, with internal accusations of betrayal threatening further disintegration. BBC, UKBBC.com, Wikipedia.org. What this means for the future of PF, with Edgar Lungu's death still shaking the foundation of the party, and now Charity Banda's alleged defection, the Patriotic Front appears directionless, without clear leadership, public trust, or a unified message. Analysts warn that PF could become politically irrelevant by the next election. The once mighty party now faces a sobering question. Can PF survive 2026? Esther Lungu faces significant personal and political challenges amid the funeral dispute and the Banda allegations. As Edgar's widow, she has taken a firm stance on his burial, insisting on a private ceremony in South Africa per his wishes, which include excluding Hichilema from involvement. Her legal battles, including 2023 and 2024 arrests for fraud and property-related charges, have made her a target of the UPND's anti-corruption drive, which she and the PF claim is politically motivated. The funeral controversy, coupled with the leaked audio, has heightened her visibility, portraying her as a grieving widow defending her husband's legacy while facing government pressure. BBC, ComBC, UK. The allegations involving Banda, particularly the suggestion of a conspiracy to repatriate Edgar's body, have deepened Esther's distrust of both the UPND and certain PF members. Her spokesperson, Makibi Zulu, has accused the government of disregarding the family's wishes, and the South African court's decision to halt the burial until August 2025 has prolonged her distress. Esther's legal troubles, including a pending court appearance for car theft charges, risk further public scrutiny, potentially undermining her credibility. If the court rules against her family's wishes, it could portray her as powerless, damaging her influence within the PF. Conversely, a successful private burial could solidify her as a symbol of resistance against the UPND, though this may escalate her legal and political challenges. PFvsUPND.com. The future of PF. The PF's future hinges on its ability to navigate the leadership vacuum left by Lungu's death and resolve its internal divisions. The party's reliance on Lungu's appeal, rather than robust institutions or a clear policy platform, has left it vulnerable to fragmentation. The failure of coalitions like the United Kwacha Alliance and the Tons Alliance, coupled with the 2023 Sampa factional split, underscores the PF's institutional weaknesses. The Banda controversy and funeral dispute have further eroded trust, with accusations of betrayal threatening to alienate key members. InspirAfrica again, Wikipedia or justafrica.org. To survive, the PF must select a unifying leader for the 2026 elections, but potential candidates like Given Labinda and Robert Shabinga face challenges due to their differing political pedigrees and the party's factional history. The PF's social democratic roots and appeal to urban youth and the poor remain assets, but without a cohesive strategy, it risks losing ground to the UPND, which has consolidated power despite economic criticisms. The party's narrative of UPND persecution could galvanize its base, but ongoing legal battles against its members, including Esther Lungu, may limit its effectiveness. The PF's survival depends on institutional reform and a new charismatic leader to rival Hichilema as Zambia's political drama unfolds. One thing is certain: Charity Banda's story is not just about betrayal. It's about the future of power in Zambia and whether opposition politics can remain a force when loyalty becomes currency and silence speaks volumes.